All right, girls. So we've got an action-packed session and we've got an amazing guest speaker. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an outline what today is about. You all had some homework to do, and part of that homework was identifying some of your courageous leaders. That is the subject for today. So I'm going to share some slides with you just to start, if you don't mind, and then just to take us through what the key aspects of today is about. So last week we started with building trust. And what is building trust about? Okay, building trust was about creating our circles, meeting our mentors, and actually spending time just getting to know each other. And as we said last week, every single module just builds on the next one, okay? But courageous leadership is actually what Girls for Girls is all about. Because what we are doing here is that we are turning each one of you into a courageous leader. Now, you might not realize it, but you actually are all courageous leaders, okay? And what I want you to do, leaving this session today, I want you to understand and know what it is about you personally that makes you a leader, okay? So our objectives for today, we want to empower you to identify your role models, who the people are that are important in your life in terms of, and why you admire them. We want you to identify what your leadership qualities are, your very own leadership qualities are. And we want to see you guys to see yourselves as capable of being leaders. And not just leaders as like the Michelle Obamas of the world or the Oprah Winfreys of the world. Leaders within your small spaces that you are in. Even when you are at school, if you're amongst your friends, if you're amongst your community, your siblings, wherever you may be, you can be a leader right where you are. And it's important that you know that. You don't need to go out into the world to be a leader. You are a leader in your own right, okay? And then, last thing, or the last point of today, is proactively applying leadership principles in your lives. And those are some of the things that we're going to talk about within our circles today. So what I'd like you to do while we're talking is I want you to type in the chat box who your courageous leaders are. I'm interested to know for each one of you who your courageous leaders are. But I don't only want you to say who they are, I want you to say why you think they are your leaders, why you admire them, what is it about them that makes them special. Please could you type that in the chat box right now? And I'll get to them shortly, but I want you to type it in the meantime and then we'll talk about it. Okay? So, the key principles about today that we're going to discuss is knowing what your mission and purpose is, what it is that fundamentally drives you as a person, what it is that you care about deeply and passionately that's going to make you want to go out and change the world. I want you to think about that. Next, I want you to think about what knowledge you need to actually be able to develop that mission that you have. Okay. All right, let's look at it. Ntaba Singh says her parents are her courageous leaders. But Ntaba Singh, I want to know why. Please, can you type why? That's really, really important. Carol says, my courageous leader is my mother. She's a mother of 5. She's a provider. She's my teacher. And most importantly, she is my backbone. I admire her because of her strength, her willpower, and her ambition to be more. She's the most powerful woman I know. She teaches me how to be independent and how to stay true to myself. Wow, that is so beautifully described. Thank you. That is so beautifully described. You really gave us the key things about it that you love about it. And you say your passion is to be successful and have a platform to educate other girls. Well, we are definitely going to help you do that here. That's for sure. Okay. The third principle that we want to talk about is how you grow your village. And what you're talking about there is your passion to be successful. That's how we want you to use the village that is here, the G4G village, and the various people that you've met to help you achieve and grow your village. And then lastly, keeping your eye on the bigger picture. Okay. Oops, sorry. So who watched the video? I'm interested to know who watched the video. Can you put your hands up, girls? Who watched the video? Nina did. Well done, Nina. I'm glad you did. Anyone else? Who else watched the video? Yes, Sinswala. Well done. Okay. Tandiwe, did you watch the video? Yes, well done. Okay, great. So one of the key messages that she raised in her discussion was that leaders were made, not born. Okay. And I think what today is about is making you realize within yourselves what qualities you have that you can use to grow your leadership potential and your leadership ability. And we're going to talk about your leaders more in the circles. And I just want to see who else said their leaders are here in the chat box. Hold on a moment for me, please. Zozobini said, Priska said Zozobini. The reason why I'm saying this is because she's the only one who was brave enough to change the face of modern pageantry. That is so true. She really went out there and did something different. She opted for short hair and became the first contestant to win with natural African hair. I love that. I feel like she truly stands for authenticity in the true sense of the word. That is so true. What a beautiful answer. Thank you. I love that. And then let's see what else. My courageous leader is Rebecca says, my courageous leader is my technology teacher. She's a very confident woman. When she arrived, she'd been the only female teaching a technical subject, but she did not let that demotivate her in the sense that she was looked down as a woman teaching mechanical technology. Well done you for acknowledging her. That's amazing, Rebecca. Thank you. That's really beautiful. And we'll talk about that more and discuss that in the circles. Her name is Nina Hastie. She's a comedian. She's a TV and radio presenter. She's a writer. She's an actress. Some of you may know her as the host of Late Night Talk Show, Trending SA. She's been nominated for various awards and she's hosted various awards. So I would like you guys to please give a wonderful G4G welcome to Miss Nina Hastie. Welcome, Nina.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
So much. Thank you. Hi. Sorry, I was moving around quite a lot. I wanted to get some light on my face and without it being too distracting. I've also got quite interesting art, which can be quite distracting in the background. So now you're looking at my kitchen. So anyway, hello everybody. Hi ladies. Hello ladies. I am so excited to chat to you guys today. You know, thank you first of all, Val, for inviting me. I really appreciate it. This is such an incredible initiative. I've just been chatting to a few of my friends and in my girls WhatsApp group, you know, just saying how powerful this is and how this should be compulsory for every grade 11 and grade 12 girl in the country. And if we can advocate for some kind of expansion of this project and, you know, make it more accessible to as many people, I'd love to be involved in that. This is my cat. She's not allowed to even be in this building. Okay. My therapy cat. Anyway, so it's so funny. So Val gave me a ring and asked me to get involved with this. And it's actually coincided with a whole plan and with my blueprint and where I'm at the moment. So I'm repositioning myself from like a comedian, or some people would know me as a television presenter, into more of a mental health and social education advocate. Not because I don't think that comedy is important. I'm certainly going to be using comedy in all of these things that I do, but I just feel that now that I've got this kind of reach, that I can start doing the work that I always really wanted to do. So I've divided my talk into 4 segments. This is a talk that I've started doing over the years, particularly in Women's Month. Last year I did a lot of speaking on I don't know how to put this, but like sort of like sexual violence and like all the, stop it, sorry, my cat is literally knocking my laptop now. Surviving sexual violence and those kinds of things. And it can actually be quite traumatizing and emotional to speak about all the time. So I'd like to just, I'm going to try and condense this as much as possible. Also, because so many things happened over the years, it was very difficult for me to kind of go, what happened when, and actually to track the timeline. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be able to give you a clear, well-researched and succinct conversation. Okay, so I'm just going to give you some information for my milestones. I'm 37 years old. I have been doing, hello? So I'm 37. I've been involved in comedy for many years, but I just want to start off. So I matriculated in 2001. But before I was even, I want to look at all of you guys at the same time. Can I just see all of your, can everyone just give me a wave? Are you with me? So that I can see and feel your energy. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna track back. So I matriculated in 2001. When I was in grade 9, I became a member of the SRC, and I was an executive member. I also sat on the governing body of the school and was responsible for rewriting the school code of conduct, making sure that students had a more of a say, and also created a sister partnership with Mamelodi Secondary School in order to, so I went to Willow Ridge High School in the east of Pretoria, in order to just share some of our insights as a student body about human rights and children's rights and student rights in that space and time. I was then shortlisted for junior mayor of Pretoria, but I think the position went to a boy, as it would have in the 90s. Also, it wasn't very, it was very difficult in the 90s in Pretoria East, which was a very conservative and still very racist environment, to be involved in projects like that. It wasn't something that was encouraged or anything by members of my community and things like that. We'll talk about that just now, but what I really want to talk to is what a beautiful space we're in 2020 in South Africa, where so many young women have agency and freedom, access to internet, and be able to have their voice, particularly on social media platforms where you can see active social change that is happening within global movements like Me Too, etc., and Black Lives Matter. So a lot of my work has started in the 90s and carries on right through to now in terms of my social change advocacy. All right, so that's standard 7, grade 9. I matriculate in 2001. And this is, I had to track this down because it was all very blurry. From about 2001 till 2013 is very blurry. I know it sounds crazy to say a 12-year period is blurry, but it is. So there's a trauma that happens in 2001. I just finished school and I was a victim of rape. Some boys that I went to school with, actually, anyway, there were 2 incidences in that December of me finishing school. So I was between 18 and 19, and like I think my second ever sexual experience was a date rape situation, and the second one was the boys from school that had sort of kidnapped me and took me to a field, and there was that sort of experience. But what had happened in that period, there was like a December holiday. I did something really stupid and dodgy. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because I want to talk about the pillars of your village. Now, there's a reason that I need to explain this so that you understand how important that is. So at the end of matric, I had hooked up with my friend's boyfriend, and all the girls in my group were very, they were just disgusted in me, and I was sort of like kicked out of the friendship group. I didn't go on matric vacation, and I was isolated from all my friends. In the meantime, about a week after all of this happened, the sexual violence issue happened. So now I didn't have any friends to talk to, and I didn't speak to my family about this. So it was a very, very lonely time for me, and it was very difficult because I basically just kept all of that information inside of me, and I had no one to talk to. And not long after that, maybe about 6 months after that, I had met sort of the first love of my life. And I had found a lot of solace in this relationship. I'm sort of 19 years old. I move in with this DJ from Joburg, and I get engaged to this guy at like 20 years old, you know. So I had then isolated myself from my family. I had no more friends anymore. I only had this relationship with this guy, and that became my entire universe. And as a result, a lot of my socialization lacked a village. It lacked the support and guidance and just sometimes reality checking with anyone. No family, no friends, and I had only this relationship. And when that relationship fell apart, I had no support structure, and that was when my alcohol and drug abuse sort of really kicked in, because I had no pillars. So I mean, I was listening to Nancy Keen's conversation. That was the video that was the homework vibes, and she really talks about establishing your village. So it takes me about another 10 years, or let's say, yeah, about 9 years. So I've tracked here from about the trauma of 2004 all the way to about 2013. There are some wins in that space. I work for Sony Music International, get this amazing job. I get, I start studying film. I have like these markers. I start doing stand-up comedy. So I'm doing all of this in the forefront of my life, but in the background, there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of trauma and an unidentified sort of mental health issue as well. So I've got all this other struggle that's happening behind the scenes, and just no way to like root and reach out to people and say, listen, I don't know what I'm doing. And so this sounds very difficult, and it's difficult not to conflate different issues. So there's a few things that are happening in the world. At this stage, there's like the social revolution of South Africa that's happening, and me being a huge advocate of already then how Black Lives Matter, and assimilating into South African society as best I can with my best understanding, but also coming up against my family the whole time, coming up against people I grew up with, my friends, who didn't necessarily have the same understanding or experience that I did. And like, just as a country, we haven't been re-socialized. We just didn't know how to communicate with each other. I know this sounds vague, but I hope that that part is landing. But I'm gonna skip through this and then just talk about why this is important. Okay, so these are the traumas and the milestones that sort of happen. Through a course of events, I eventually start becoming more and more of an alcoholic. My behavioral patterns become more abusive, violent, dishonest. There was a lot of lying, stealing, just really bad behavior that eventually landed me up in a situation where I had no options anymore. And in 2011, I think, I landed up sleeping on a floor at this drug dealer's house in, well, house is a strong word, at this drug den in Braamfontein with a bunch of other sort of like West African refugees, for want of a better term. There was all these like Cameroonian like drug dealer types, and there wasn't a bed, there wasn't anything. I'm just sleeping on the floor. This place has like rats. It was just the most traumatizing thing. And because I'd been cut off from my family, because they didn't, wanted me to stop doing all the things that I was doing, and they had just run out of energy with me, there was really it was just very difficult. And this guy essentially was beating me physically. I didn't have money. He wouldn't let me work. It was just really a very traumatizing time in my life. And I'd lost everything because I'd like left my car. My gran had loaned me a car. I had left it at this place where we were renting, and we couldn't afford the rent, and this guy impounded my car. It was just like, you know, basically I'd lost everything, and I'd lost hope, and I'd lost connection, and it was just a very, very testing and trying time. My next step to get out of that place, some money had come into my account from a voiceover I did about a year ago. A client had owed me money, and the money came into my account, and I ran away in the middle of the night. Somehow managed to get to the airport, and I went to Cape Town with this big blue eye and like bruises all the way down my body. And I arrived at my mother's sister's house in Cape Town, and obviously traumatized their entire family. Imagine just rocking up at someone's house beaten. It was really quite traumatizing. My behavior just affected other people quite significantly. Nonetheless, once I got down there, I ended up getting a job at Madame Zingara, which was a circus. It moved around, and that way I could get accommodation as well as a job at the same time. So Madame Zingara moves up to Johannesburg. I'm still using a lot of, I'm still drinking heavily and using drugs. There's a lot of people in that space that were heavy drug users. Even the like management of the circus, they would give us drugs to keep sure that, you know, we were active and maintained a certain level of energy. It was actually a very abusive environment. My hair started falling out at this point. I lost my body had gone through so much stress over the years that it actually couldn't sustain keeping my hair in my head anymore. So it triggered an autoimmune disease called alopecia, where all my hair fell out. And I was just really tired. Then my nervous system was shot. It was just really, really hectic. So I think at that stage, because my family could physically see that this child actually is incapable of basic human health, my mom said that I was allowed to come home for 3 months to sort of recover from this and get back on track. I came home. I got an amazing opportunity to go to, this is now 2012, it's the London Olympics. I got this incredible opportunity to do a stand-up comedy gig in London. I had never been overseas before. I could never afford it. And this miracle happens. My mom was like, how do you do it, Lovey? How are you the biggest stuff up in the world? And then 2 minutes later, you get an opportunity to go to the Olympics. I don't understand you, child, but that's just also how I do things. I'm either an extremely good loser or an extremely good winner. There's no sort of middle ground between any of these places. Nonetheless, I get this opportunity. I go to London and I try and do, I stop drinking. I try and do this on my own. But I managed not to do it on my own. And this is going to bring me to my next segment of the talk, which is tools. So these are the milestones. I do these amazing things, these traumatizing things happen to me, but I still managed to achieve like quite phenomenal things in the meantime. Studied a little bit of film. I was a marketing manager, went to the Olympics, joined the circus, all of these crazy things, but I didn't have any tools. So 2013 hits. It's the 16th of October, 2013. I walk into an AA room with a friend of mine who I say to her, she's got a drinking problem. I take her to AA. I said, you know, my girl, you've got a drinking problem. Let me take you to AA. Then it'll sort your life out. I didn't realize that I was projecting my issues onto her. I take her into the space. And when I sat down in that meeting, I realized, oh, I've got a drinking problem. Okay, cool. And from that day, I never had a drink again. That was almost 7 years ago. So this was my first tool that I used of recovery and making myself a better member of society. So I used AA. I still use a lot of those steps. So there's a 12-step program, and it's about spiritual enlightenment and being honest with yourself and taking stock of your life, etc., etc. The second tool that I used was something called Landmark Forum, which is also a self-development workshop where you do a lot of work on eliminating the stories and the lies that you tell yourself as excuses for your bad behavior. I used that as a tool. I now see a cognitive behavioral therapist who helps me using changing my behavior by virtue of changing my behavior. So cognitive behavioral therapy teaches you that you don't use your mind to change your behavior, but you use your behavior to change your behavior. For example, if you sit at home and think thin, I'm thin, I'm thin all day, right? But you're stuffing your face filled with chocolates and cake. Do you think you're going to lose weight? No, you're not going to lose weight. But if you stop eating chocolates and you start eating salad and chicken and whatever every day, and you start feeling better, because now all of a sudden you've eliminated sugar. The next day you've got more energy to exercise. The next day you're exercising, so now you feel like eating more vegetables. The knock-on effect of good behavior breeds more good behavior. So that's another tool that I use. I went to a dietitian to help me understand how to better access my body and energy. I use spiritual guides. I try and immerse myself in my own spirituality, whatever yours is, find mentors in that space. And then business. So these are the different tools that I use to create better spaces. And this is where I'm going to come to. There's two major things that are very important. Now, with business, in 2013, I registered myself, Nina Hastie, as a business, Nina Hastie Pty Limited. I did a SWOT analysis on myself. I found out what my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were. And I created an entire structure, a 360 brand plan, and as well as a business plan of how I could immerse myself back into society as a comedian, voice artist, writer, and see where I needed to put more of my energy into developing these spaces. From that space, I was able to create a 5-year plan in order to carry out all of these things. So now I'm walking into life with tools, structured tools, in order to find the best way forward for myself. Because I also had this chip on my shoulder thinking that I'd lost all of this time. I'd lost 12 years to drinking, drugs, alcohol, stupid relationships, all of these kinds of things, trauma. I really felt that I had to catch up with everybody else that was my age. I needed to catch up with them because I had lost all this time. I needed to collect. I didn't even have a knife and fork, guys. I had nothing. I had the clothes on my back. My friends still mock me, the Goliaths, because one year we went to Grahamstown Festival and I had all my belongings in my backpack. And a friend of mine loaned me, I think, 700 Rand to go to Grahamstown National Arts Festival. And I had flyers in my backpack, and then the clothes that I owned were the ones I was wearing. They always tease me. They're like, oh, remember when your jeans were so gray? They were black jeans, but they were gray because it's I washed them so many times. It's the only pants I had. Anyway, they still tease me because anyway, I've come a long way since then. I was bald and I had no clothes. They thought it was very funny. It's also important to have friends that help you not take yourself too seriously. Okay, so I'm going to say those are the tools that I started using. But one of the most important tools I'm going to come back to later is the cognitive behavioral therapy and how I created a blueprint. That's going to be in my methodology section 4. Now, here's some insights, right? What I realized is that I was the only woman in the stand-up comedy space. There were 1 or 2 other women. There's Tumi Morake joined after I'd started comedy, and Celeste Nduli. We had started at the same, but she was in KZN and I was in Joburg. There were so many men in this industry that what happens is you can't really make a change in a society if you are one. Say, for example, there's 10 people in a society, 10 people at a table, and 9 of those people are men, and one of those people is a woman. You as a woman don't have another ally in that space to make active change. And often what happens is that woman lands up assimilating into the psychology and the nature and the culture of those 9 men. And there isn't someone else to help you say, actually, this is my experience. You know, the concept of a seat at the table is really, really important. And only after Gilly Apter, Claudine Ullman, Litlem Simang, these women had entered the comedy world and sort of became my allies in checking the male behavior, and actually not just checking the male behavior, but realizing how I might have assimilated into their kind of behavior. Did I really find a sense of understanding what it means to be a feminist? I had no idea. I thought I was a feminist, but actually I wasn't. And it really made a difference that there were other women in the space. As a result, I felt safe. I shared my insights with them, and I created this mentorship program for other female comedians. I helped them with the lessons that I'd learned, helped them structure their businesses. How do you do taxes as an artist? How do you structure your business as an artist? Let's look at your performance. Let's try and see how I can give you better insights about your performance, or maybe you can help me with insights about my performance. And then we started creating lower barriers to entry for other women entering comedy. For example, comedy is hard to get to the places. The places are usually dodgy bars in far areas. If you don't have a car, you have to get a lift or a taxi. I used to catch a bus and a taxi and then still try and get a lift from Pretoria when I was still living in Pretoria to get to Newtown in Johannesburg. The places, there's no taxis at night, there's no transport at night, people are drinking, it's dangerous. So the border to entry into comedy as a woman is really hard, not just because of women saying things on stage, but the logistical element of it being dangerous and happening at night. So offering other women lifts, offering people, you know, just support on that level, starting your own comedy nights where more women can jump on, as opposed to the male comedy nights where they just let their friends onto the thing, so that you can grow and get better because you've had more opportunities to perform. It's so, so important to allow other women into your circle, not just for them, but for you. That's really important. So I spoke about women entering assimilation. I only realized this year how the trauma of not having friends at that time to speak about that thing, how very important it is to have a community of people that you can lean in on, a small circle of trust. Who is in your inner circle? Who can you trust? And hanging around with the right people. Guys, you know, your parents say this, that don't hang around with scolies, don't hang around with people that smoke and take drugs, and, you know, stay away from those bad people. That thing is true. Stay away from other people. If your family members are saying those people are bad people, they've probably got better judgment than you do from the outside. Try and find people that are successful, people that are good at their sports, or people that immerse themselves in activities, good hobbies, something athletic, something like that. It's really, really important to surround yourself with women that are doing good things. Your friendship group is so, so important. It is paramount to surround yourself with people that you can trust. Very, very important. And also feel free to leave friends that aren't good for you. Just because you grew up with someone doesn't mean that they're a good person. Just because someone is your cousin doesn't mean they're a good person. Status, like as in, oh, but it's my cousin and we're related. That doesn't mean anything. You're allowed to cut that person off. They could be toxic. Just because you've known someone since you were 2 doesn't make them a good person. You can cut them off if they're toxic. You're allowed to. You're allowed to choose yourself. That's really important. Something that Nancy Kern said that I say all the time is, life is long. Stop acting like life is short. I thought I was going to die by the time I was 30. That's why I lived life at full tilt. I was like, I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well just behave in a way, I do whatever, you know, have unprotected sex. Guys, the fact that I never contracted a serious disease by the things that happened to me, I think God just really loved me, and I'm not tempting fate any further. Use protection. Life is long. I know that sounds like such a stupid thing to be talking about, but it's really, really important. Life is long. You need to think about life being long. Don't make short-term decisions. I tweeted something yesterday which went viral. I just want to find this tweet, and it speaks to everything that we're saying. And I want you guys to write this down. Normalize being a single woman and being independent and having a meaningful, fulfilled life without needing a partner to validate your existence. So this goes viral, and a lot of people were like, what do you mean, you know, partnerships are great, you know, being married is great. I'm like, yes, those things are already normal. What I would like people to realize is normalize putting yourself first. Normalize putting the priority of your own education, your own happiness, sorting out your own financial security, your own sense of community, being allowed to be a community leader, being allowed to be somebody that has influence over your small group of friends, being allowed to be the person that other people rely on. Allow yourself that. You don't have to wait for Prince Charming to come and help you from the side of the road. You are Prince Charming. Nobody's coming for you. No one's going to come and rescue you, guys. No husband is going to be the answer to all your prayers. No boss is going to be the answer to all your prayers. You are the answer to all your prayers. It's inside of you, and you can create that opportunity when you free yourself and in your mind of that to tell the next woman that they can free themselves and their mind of that. You're allowed. You are allowed to be successful. You are allowed to be independent. That's okay. So that's the other thing. Now I'm going to talk about methodology. Good habits, honesty with yourself. I find myself, there's a lot of stuff where there was stories that I had told myself that were complete nonsense. Things that I had said to other people because I wanted them to feel sorry for me so that they could come and rescue me. I used to play this damsel in distress act with a lot of people, with my family, with my friends, so that they could come and rescue me. And it speaks to that previous point of allowing yourself to be independent. Stop talking BS to yourself. Take stock of your own things. Why am I in this situation? How many of my behavioral traits led me to this? Okay, maybe it's not my behavioral traits. Maybe this environment has led me to that. But once you start being honest with yourself, you can start making those distinctions. Take stock of your life and your behaviors with other people regularly. How have I hurt this person this week? Let's look at my life this week. What have I done? Okay, cool. I've achieved XYZ on my to-do list. But you know what? I was actually quite nasty to that person. Gosh, okay. You know what? I don't need to have that untied, like a loose thread in my life. Let me go and make right with that person. With my neighbors, I had people drilling in the walls or whatever. It really upset them. Took them a chocolate and I said, listen, I'm terribly sorry that I upset your week. I understand how noise can affect you. Something as silly as that. Take stock of all the relationships and things in your life so that you can make amends with people. Create structure in your life. So sorry, habits, honesty, take stock, structure. Structure is so important. Even if it's a matter of, I work best at night, create an opportunity for yourself to work best at night. Try and create a situation where you exercise twice a week. Create a routine and structure for yourself so that you can be more effective. Those things are very, very important. If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not eating properly, these things affect your mental health, they affect your behavior, they affect the way that you're treating other people. Routine, routine, routine. I can't say enough of that. Feedback, guys. Take feedback from people. And this speaks to having good people around you. If you've got good people around you, they can give you feedback about your behavior regularly. Take feedback and be brave enough and courageous enough to take feedback from people. This is going to help you. If people say, listen, that wasn't actually cool, or you know what, you do this thing where you're actually quite a selfish person, or you do this thing where you're actually quite shitty and you give me those like cheeky eyes the whole time and it doesn't make me feel good. Take the feedback and be brave and courageous enough to change your behavior. Be accountable and have people that you're accountable to. If you're going to make all these decisions for yourself, I'm going to diet, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do my to-do list or whatever, make sure that there's an accountability for yourself and an accountability partner external to that you can find. I know I'm giving you guys a lot of information, but if you go and you listen to this later, it's going to make a lot of sense. Find somebody to help you stay accountable to yourself. It's very important. I'm going to say 2 more things and then I'm finished. 3 more things. When you wake up in the morning, it is important to start your day with a tone. If you want to start your day breathing, or if you want to start your day stretching, I think that for me, the most powerful way to start a day is with gratitude. A prayer of gratitude is so much more powerful than a prayer of supplication. And what that means is, if you start your day with going, thank you so much for all of these things that I have, that on an energetic level is so much more powerful than saying, please, I need this, please, I need that, because now you are positioning your brain in a space where you don't have enough. You already have enough. There is space for more. There's an energetic space for more for you and more for other people. When you start operating your first thought of the day, when you are acting in lack, when you're acting in not enough, in acting I need, it's all about me, that energy, you're going to take it throughout your day, and every experience you're going to have with people is going to smell of that, and it's gross. Stop it. Be grateful. You're enough, and what you have is enough. Anything else is extra, and you can also add energy to other people's spaces, and that's what setting yourself in gratitude is all about for me. Blueprint. Okay, I'm going to end with this. You guys, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to have a plan. If I think about the years that I wasted, had I had a plan, I wouldn't have been able to be swayed with the Joel, with a circus, with being somebody else's hype man, or being my ex-boyfriend's motivational speaker. None of those things are actually in my plan. If I have a vision, I have goals underneath that vision, and then I have a blueprint of a structured plan, how in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, I have a 20-year plan. I know that seems quite anal, but I don't care. I don't care what other people's opinions are. I have a 20-year plan, because life is long, and I need to make sure that I achieve those things. And if I have those things that I need to be accountable to, I can't be distracted by other people's nonsense and and other people's ideas and other people's plans. If you don't have a plan for yourself, you're going to land up working for somebody else and fulfilling their plan. And that's pathetic. Why would you want to be fulfilling someone else's plan when you have an entire opportunity to be the best version of yourself? So, ladies, I know I've given you a very intense, structured thing about life, but if I can leave you with one thing, have a plan. Don't be afraid to have a plan. Vision, goals, structure, and routine underneath all of that. It is absolutely imperative. You're allowed to be this person. Okay, thanks. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you. I see there's one quote, one request for you to please repeat the tweet, if you don't mind. Actually, there are two asking you to please repeat the tweets again. Are you there, Nina?
You're on mute, Nina.
You're on mute.
What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste it into the chat.
Okay.
Normalize being a single woman and being independent and having a meaningful, fulfilled life without needing a partner to validate your existence. And a lot of people, there was actually a lot of drama about this tweet, because there were a lot of people saying, yeah, but Nina, yeah, but, you know, and I was just like, the fact that I have to defend this statement says so much about society. There are so many people that have not allowed themselves this opportunity. They're still so stuck in the idea that relationships are more important than yourself as a human being and validating yourself as a woman in society.
Absolutely. Okay, girls, questions for Nina, please. Who has some questions? This is your chance, ladies. Anyone?
Hi, Val.
Yes, go ahead.
Val?
Go ahead.
Before the girls go on, Nina, thank you for that. It's really, I mean, I'm sure it's inspiring to the girls, and the best bit is it's the truth. It's your truth, and you couldn't have said it better than that. And the fact that you've told the girls to live their truth and not to rely on anybody to validate them, because a lot of girls, they need validation, and that's the problem. You don't need to be validated by other people other than yourself and how you feel about yourself. So I think that's wonderful. And being grateful every morning when you wake up, rather than being in need. I need. She doesn't have enough, and it's discouraging when you see that she does have enough. She just needs to accept what she has. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Sitali. Anyone else? Questions?
Hi,
Go
ma'am.
ahead.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask Nina if in life she was how did she feel when her family the meanwhile.
We didn't quite catch that. How did Nina feel when her family?
Had like lost faith in her, like when it had.
What I heard is, Nina, how did you feel when you unmute, Nina?
So I think it was possibly at the time because do you mind muting yourself again? Sorry, it's a bit noisy. Ask the question just to mute yourself. Is that possible?
I'm trying to mute her.
There we go. Thank you. I think there were so many things happening at the time, and I was still very much when you don't know how to be honest with yourself, it's very easy to blame other people. So it's their fault that they don't want to speak to me because they don't understand where I'm at. They're racist. They don't understand the youth. They're this. It's easy to project your own ideas onto people and blame them for stuff like that's happening in your own head when you don't really know what the problem is. So I might have been in pain and I might have been looking for connection with them, but I was so attached to them being wrong about everything that I couldn't see to protect myself from the pain that I was actually feeling of not having the connection of family. So it's easier to create another story in your head about why people don't speak to you or why something is happening when you're trying to protect yourself from the true pain that's actually there. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Nina, I've got another question. Where do you find this from, Priska? Where do you find the strength to keep going, especially in an industry that is male dominated?
So this is the thing. Willpower doesn't help anybody. It's a very short-lived experience. Like, oh, I'm never going to eat sugar again, or I'm going to exercise 17 times this week. Willpower is not going to get you anywhere. Where I find the strength is in my plan. If I've created a plan that has the things that I have to achieve, that is where I find the strength, in the structure, in being accountable to my goals by someone external. You can't just find strength in yourself because sometimes the motivation doesn't exist. You know, you might be going through a week of depression. Yeah. Let me show you something. I'm going to draw you a graph. My cognitive behavioral therapist taught me something. This is here's a graph, right? Okay. So if here's somebody on this side of the graph, I need a Cokie. This is if you only act when you're feeling good, you behave well, but when you're feeling bad, you don't exercise. Then you feel good, then you exercise. When you don't feel good, you don't exercise. When you feel good, you exercise. Where's
You muted, Nina, you muted?
Sorry, I don't know how that happened. Okay, so say for example, you want to behave, you want to go gym, yeah? So you gym when you feel good, you don't gym when you don't feel good. You gym when you feel good, you don't gym when you don't feel good. The average of that behavior is in the middle of this line, right? Across the board, eventually. Now, if I want to actually succeed and not just be average, I've got to exercise when I don't feel good. I exercise when I do feel good. I exercise when I don't feel good. And the average of that is much higher than another person's. So you've got to be in a situation where you are accountable to your plan, whether you feel good or whether you don't feel good. And that is what keeps me going, a structure and a plan that I'm accountable to. It's got nothing to do with willpower. It's got nothing to do with internal strength. It's about a structure and a plan.
Thank you for that. Tabaseng asks, are you satisfied with who you've become? And do you think there's still more you need to do?
You know, thank you. That's a great question. I was thinking about that today. A lot of, you know, when I was in the middle of, I remember like end of my first year of trending SA, Shaga said to me, you know, Nina, you've come such a long way. Have you stopped to take a moment to say, wow, look how far I've come? Have you stopped to sit in where you're at and go, sure, I've come so far? And I said to him, no, not really. Because I mean, I take stock every day. Like, okay, cool. I'm grounded now. I feel grateful now, but I really feel like I have such a great purpose and such a huge vision that I kind of feel like, yes, okay, cool. I'm good here today and I'm grateful for where I'm at today, but I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with where I'm at, because as soon as you become stagnant, you aren't open to society changes. We live in a dynamic world. Information is changing. Industry is changing. COVID-19. If I wasn't able to adjust and adapt and change all the time, then I wouldn't have been able to survive this given my industry. So I don't think you should ever be too comfortable with where you're at.
Nice. Any other questions, girls? Vanessa says, I don't have much to say, but Nina is officially my courageous leader. I like the fact that she mentioned that we need to normalize independence, and I also love that she touched something about the people we keep around us. That was very helpful. The validation was needed. She talked exactly to building your village, girls. That's exactly what she talked to. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
And that, can I say something else? Building your village is important on every level. So everybody that I've worked with, or that has joined my company, or that I have had some sort of engagement with, I've tried to help them upskill themselves. So if there's anybody that hasn't had the agency to, when I say agency, like access to improve their life, I try my best to leave people that have worked with me in a better position than they were before, whether it's getting a driver's license or doing their business plan, or giving them an opportunity to intern with another friend of mine. Try and allow each person that you engage with, particularly women, because you've actually got to make a concerted effort. If you don't have this in your plan and your structure, you're going to forget to do it. Have it in your plan that you upskill the women around you. It's the only way we're going to be better.
Nina, another question. What was the hardest part to accept in your life?
The hardest part to accept in my life, I think, is this thing that society, that I'm not because this is, I mean, I've cried many nights, cried myself to sleep. You know, I made a lot of money in the last few years. I've just bought my second house. I've just, you know, not at the same time, just like the second purchase. I drive a sports car, crazy, silly things that are really wonderful. But I would still cry myself to sleep a lot of the time because I was like, oh, I don't have anybody to share this with. Oh, my life is so pathetic. And then I was like, what are you talking about, Nina? You do share this life with people all the time. You do have rich, deep, meaningful connections with people. Like what? Like there's nothing lacking from my life. And I suspect that, and that doesn't mean that I don't want a partner. Please don't get me wrong. I do want to start a family at some point. I don't think that that's not an option for me. But I think that the importance of being happy in your own vision and your own dreams and your own power in society is more important than being validated by society because you now have a husband, or that you have now got children or whatever. That is secondary, but we position that in our mind as primary, and we need to change that idea. You're not a person in society only when you get married. That's not the goal. The goal is to become a person in society that adds value. That's the goal. Everything else is secondary. And what that does is when you are in a partnership and when you are in a relationship, if there's toxicity in that relationship, you can get out of that because your goal isn't the relationship. Your goal is to be a better person.
And Swallow, you had your hand up. Did you have a question? Go ahead. Unmute.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Nina, I wanted to ask, like, when was it where you finally decided I need to change my life? Like, this is the last straw. I can't live like this anymore.
You know, Tinswalo, the thing about my life is you would think that losing everything, sleeping on the floor, the drug stuff, like being beaten, that was the last straw. That wasn't the last straw. You would think that my hair falling out and joining the circus and thinking that was the last straw. You don't know when that last straw is going to come. There's just a click that happens in your spirit one day, like where you go, okay, I actually can't do this anymore, because if I carry on like this, I'm going to die. So I don't, you think that the big thing is the last straw, but it's not. Sometimes you need to like wallow in stuff for a long time. I don't know. I don't really know what the last straw is. It was, I think, you know what it was? It was realizing that there were other people that were able to get themselves out of where I was at, and seeing that with my own eyes, that there was another way of being, and that there was another way of living, and that there were people that experienced things the way that I did, and that had the same behavior and the same pain and all of that as I did, but there was a real opportunity of change, and that I actually saw it, and that the fact that I could see it made a big difference to me.
Zanele would like to know if you ever had a trigger that came to mind that you would maybe fail and go back to your old ways.
Sure. You know, there are so many things that happened in this last while, the anxiety of COVID, all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes like heartbreak is a trigger. And I come back to the plan and the vision and the structure, because it's not willpower, it is not strength that creates your success. But if you have a plan and a vision, and you have this moment where you could be triggered, and I have had moments where I have been triggered, but what I do is I play the movie to the end. I go, okay, cool. If I drink now, then that's going to set off a course of events that this movie ends badly. At the end of this movie, I die a tragic death and I affect other people. and I take it outside of myself and I play that movie out. Because my best friend had a relapse after 10 years, and it was one of the most painful things for me to witness. She had a child, she was drinking and driving, she almost lost custody of her child. I had to pick her up off the floor, drinking, and like, it was just after she was sober for 10 years. And that impact of her relapse was really, really, it left such a mark on me that it's not in my plan. So I can't allow myself to go there.
Last question, Nina. Have you ever had any suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, suicide was also part of the thing. Actually, shucks, I just realized that. Sorry. Yeah, there's something else there.
You don't have to go into the details. I think just
no. I need to remember this. So I struggled with depression from about standard 9 or grade 11. So I had a suicide attempt. I think in I don't remember, but I was in my early 20s, and I woke up in the ambulance. It was really quite traumatizing for my sister and for my mom and the people around me. And I think a lot of the alcohol and things like that, as I said, was a way of me trying to treat trauma, trying to treat depression, just not knowing how to, you know. And if you are having suicidal thoughts, and if you are struggling with depression, you really should reach out to people. SADAG, I didn't have medical aid and things like that when I was initially trying to deal with my depression and things like that. There's a lot of open groups, a lot of free group therapy that you can access if you are not on medical aid and if you are struggling with mental health stuff. And if you are struggling with things like that, please feel free to reach out to me as well privately if you need to.
Okay, I'm going to ask the last question for the day. How did you know that where you are now is where you were destined to be?
Okay, now I'm going to get spiritual. I remember I get visions sometimes. Sometimes they come in dreams, sometimes in the middle of the day, but I feel very strongly about things. And then like sometimes I'll listen, like my stomach will say, turn left here, then I'll turn left there. It happened now the other day, 2 days ago. Stop on the side of the road and do this. I said, okay. I stopped. And I had missed an armed robbery by 1 minute. It was just so crazy. Things like that happen to me all the time. You have to listen to that voice in as women, we have that intuition that you must really allow yourself that access. There's a reason why we give life, because we are beings of this planet. We are part of this whole thing. You can believe what you want. This is my faith and what I believe in. I had a vision that I was standing in front of women. This must have been about 15 years ago. I was standing in front of women and I was speaking to them. And at the time, these things hadn't happened to me. The traumas and things like that hadn't happened to me. And what was a very clear message that I was getting is what I'm about to go, I still have a lot of things that I need to go through before I get to the part where I am standing in front of the woman. And that I just need to be okay with that. And it's going to be hard. Yeah. It was very clear, as bright as day, that I could see that I was going to talk to women.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, please give Nina a beautiful thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity, guys. I hope that it leaves a mark or something, you know. I hope this makes change. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, darling.
Cool.
We will chat soon. Have a beautiful afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, everyone, some really strong lessons there. I think I love what she said at the end about the information gathering years. And she talked exactly to that point about how sometimes you go on a journey and it might not all be positive, but while you're doing that, you're learning your path. You're finding out what it is that is important to you and where you finally have to end up. So we're now gonna split into our circles. The things that we're going to talk about in the circles are going to be your key lessons in terms of your information gathering your years, finding your mission, growing your network, and lastly, keeping your eye on the bigger picture. So I'm going to split you up now, and we will be back. We've got an hour in the circles, and then we'll come back. Let's hear from the circles. I'm interested to know what happened, what you guys discussed, what you've talked about. Should we go by, let's just go for chronological order. Group number one, who's representing group number one?
We have Blessings representing our group.
Fantastic. Go Blessing.
Blessing, please take over. I think her network is a bit bad, so we have Vanessa in case her network is not on to actually take over from her.
Blessing, are you here? I don't see her.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. We're from the Mbogoto group. Today we discussed 4 major topics, and I'm just gonna break each and every one of them down. The first thing was knowing your mission. What we spoke about when it comes to knowing your mission is knowing exactly what you want to do and having a detailed vision of what you want to do. And then secondly, our second point is investing information in information gathering, meaning that you have to have information of the things that you want to do and know exactly how, where, and when you want to do whatever you want to do. And our third point was growing your village. This simply means that you can be a leader in your small personal space. It does not need to be a bigger space or you being a leader at the whole school or whatever. It can be as small as your family or your group of friends or your community. And then lastly, we spoke about keeping your eye in the bigger picture, meaning that you need to keep your eye in the future. You need to keep your eyes open for where you want to be and where you want to, how you want to grow. So that's basically what the Mbogotos were talking about.
Very nicely summarized, Renee. Well done. That was so great. Thank you so much. Very well summarized. Okay, group number 2.
I will be representing group number 2, which is Diamonds in the Rough. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So we...
Guys, please mute yourself if you're not talking. Katlego, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
We discussed the 4 concepts that group number 1 also discussed, which was growing your village, finding your mission and purpose, investing in gathering information, and also keeping your eye on the bigger picture. So what really stood out for me when we were discussing that was growing your village. It doesn't matter how people can, it doesn't matter supporting in fulfilling your vision and purpose. So absolutely from me, it's how it will say or you. But as long as the head and heart is moving towards mission.
Katlego, thank you. You broke up a little bit there. Can I ask you to turn your video off and just say that last bit again about your heart and your mission? You just broke up a little bit there, but it sounded so good. Please say it again. Just turn your video. There you go. Okay. Try again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes. What I gathered from the ladies is that no matter how much money you can get, but if your heart and your head is not communicating the work that you're doing, then you're not fulfilling your purpose or your mission. Those two should communicate that you are fulfilling your mission.
Oh, I missed that completely. Can you type it, Katleho? Because I missed the last bits. Please type it for us.
I'll type it.
Thank you.
Katlego, what I wanted to say though, as you were speaking, the confidence that you showed and the way you communicated, you're showing such signs of an inspirational leader already, okay? I was so taken by your presence and the way that you held yourself. So I just want to say well done to you. Thank you. I think anyone who makes
Courageous leader.
Anyone who makes that connection between heart and mind at your age, you are on your way to being a true leader already. There's no doubt. Well done to you. Fantastic. Okay, group number 3.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Prichelle.
Hi. So I'll be representing the Girls Without Borders. So in our group, we summarized everything we're talking about. It's basically the same thing from group 1 to 2. The first point is leaders are not born, they are made, right? So you can't just, when you have a dream or a mission, you have to have a plan for each and every day. Like, you can even write it down. When you wake up the next day, you know, first thing you do, prayer of gratitude. Thank God for everything. And then, yeah, the rest you can take it from there. So the first point was leaders are not born, they are made. The second one is the mission. You have to find that burning desire. Whatever that you want to do, whether it's in the community, whether it's at school, whether it's in the rural areas, anywhere. The third one is that you have to choose your village. Surround yourself with positive people. Keep your enemies closer, but at the back of your mind. Surround yourself with people that influence you to do good, push you towards the right direction and not the wrong direction. People that want to see you at your best. People that want to see a different you, to see the best version of you. Yes. The fourth one is that you have to keep your eyes on the ball. Yeah, keep focused. You have to have a structure, prayer for gratitude. You have to normalize being independent. Yeah, have a routine for each and every day.
Wow. Michelle, fantastic. You summed it up so well. And I love how you put your personal take on what you said. It's so obvious to me the key points that came across to you. So thank you. You really did a beautiful summary. Thank you so much. Well done to you. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, group number 4.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, I come from the tech frontliners, and what we discussed in our group was that, like, we discussed how it is as a woman in this world, and these are the points I've taken out from it. Firstly, you must prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, because there will be stumbling blocks. You will be smashed out there. Then secondly, I have know your route and navigate it. Then I have a map to lead your plan. Then comes know what you want and expect to fail, and when you do, pick yourself up. Then there's put yourself first. Forget about FOMO, the fear of missing out. That can wait. Put yourself first. Do what you need to do first before you follow up on, oh, okay, there's a party next door. Oh, okay, I need to do this. Forget about that. You'll see that a party doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. And then have the courage to say no to negative things and say yes to things that bring positivity in your life. Be a woman who's unstoppable. Love yourself enough to live your life for you, for yourself. And then after all of that we discussed, I decided I'm going to put in a little something. Firstly, by explaining what is a woman. A woman is a wonderful sister, an awesome aunt, the most daring mother, an exceptional wife, and a nurturing grandma. By that, I'd like to say, be your own woman, be your own strength, inspire the next to aspire to be like you. If a woman can raise a child without money, what can't they do? If a woman can do it without the help of a man, what's stopping you from pursuing your dreams and fulfilling your plan? And finally, this is a quote we got from our Tech Frontliners. It goes, if it's to be, it's up to me. Thank you.
Love that. Woo! If it's to be, it's up to me.
Girl, wow. You just spoken so much truth there. I'm not even going to add to it because it was so perfect. Wow.
Vote and swallow.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it right there. That was unbelievable. Thank you so much. Thank you. Last but not least, group number 5.
Hi everyone. I'll be representing the Dandelions. So today, we got a chance to talk about our courageous leaders, knowing our mission, growing your village, leading, and that everyone has a purpose in life, and your mistakes do not determine who you are. And lastly, I love to leave you with the quote that we all loved, which says, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mentors, is there anything that you would like to add or share for today?
Yes, we do from our group 2. We lost Lesego and Olivia and Shalati. We only left 2 people. But all I wanted to say is I'm very proud of the girls, and Lesego went an extra mile as a courageous leader that she is. She went an extra mile. She took photos of her homework, took photos of everything that we're going to be discussing today. She wrote it down, took photos, and sent it to me via WhatsApp. So I'll share it with the mentor. So I just want to say, these girls rock. You know, I'm learning so much out of them. It's amazing. We're really proud of you girls. I don't know. It's just breathtaking.
Speechless.
Just listening to them, how poetic they are, how positive they are. And they are courageous leaders, all of them. Like, they rock.
You all rock, girls.
Ayanda, go ahead.
I just wanted to... Oh.
Ayanda,
sit. Okay, thanks, Itali. I just wanted to add on what she said. We actually received a whole essay from Lesego, and she mentioned Katherine Johnson, Winnie Mandela. I'm just so impressed by the passion behind these girls, and I can't wait to see what you're all going to do in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Titali?
Yeah, I'm just equally impressed. The fact that they've just grasped it. They're like sponges. I mean, it's shocking how in just a few hours it's been absorbed, and they've brought it out again, reiterated what they've learned, and so that they're innate leaders as it is. You know, it's within them. It just needs to be tapped a little bit here and there. And they're actually the leaders that are they're already forming as leaders in the parent space and whatever it is they're doing in high school. But they're incredible. They're actually incredible. They're sponges. They've absorbed everything, and they're on the right path. There's nothing to stop them. And the passion that they've demonstrated, particularly, well, in my group, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. They're on the ball. They're on the ball. Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Yeah. Can I go?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, just thank you again for trusting us. I saw that some of you have opened up some more in our group, and I just want to say thank you for trusting us and knowing that when we say we are our sisters keepers, we mean it. You know, we actually mean that. So thank you for trusting us. And just from my side, you know, going back to Nina's speech, you know, you could hear that she's had so many challenges in her life. We've all had challenges in our lives, and sometimes when you think your life is bad, then you hear. I mean, I was listening to Nina. I'm thinking, oh gosh, my life is easy. You know, it's like, because you know, we always think that we are having the hardest times when we are going through the rough times. But just remember that you are responsible for your life. What I mean by that is that if you know, it doesn't matter what has happened to you. What people will hurt you. It is not going to stop today. It will keep on going. You'll always come across somebody who will hurt you, but you are responsible for your life. You can point fingers at Asnath and say she did 1, 2, 3, 4, but is that going to benefit you? Does that serve you? So those are the questions that you always need to ask yourself. If you are wallowing in your depression, not necessarily depression because that's a sickness, but your anger, because Asnath did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, is that serving you? Or is it time to move on and actually live your life? So for me, it's always think from the end. If I do this, how is it going to serve me at the end of the day? Thank you. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Asnath.
Can I go?
Of course.
From my side, I'm just going to speak on behalf of our foundation, because the main purpose of us wanting to have a mentorship program as part of one of our value adds, it's starting to show up. And I saw that on our circle when we were discussing leadership, because that is one element where we as women sell ourselves short, especially in our industry. When they say you can't do that, you sit in your little corner and feel pity for yourself and host a very big pity party. And seeing these girls displaying strong leadership, it gives me confidence that when they come to join in this industry, they'll be gun blazing, ready to take on this piece and give them the run of their money. And thank you, mentors, for sacrificing your family time to do this for the foundation.
Anyone else?
Well, can I go?
Yes.
Can I go?
Of course.
I would like to thank all the mentees who came through and the mentors. From our group, we've had full attendance from day one. Even though network sometimes is an issue, but they strive to come back. And we've noticed we have quite a number of courageous leaders, because I was listening to the leadership roles they're taking part in. I was like, whew, when I was your age, I was not there yet. So it's a big group of courageous leaders that we have here, because you don't really need to be that big. As little as you are, you can be very big, as seen from a perspective of another person. And also, I think today's session was amazing. Even though network was an issue for everyone. And I would like to encourage the mentees to keep the chat box buzzing. No matter if you feel something is burning and you can't get that platform to say anything, just keep the chat box buzzing. We are always looking at the chat box and say, oh, okay, this is, okay, we're saying this. And thank you so much for taking out your time on a Sunday afternoon. It is really much appreciated. I had so much fun today. I hope everyone did have fun. I've learned a lot, actually, from my mentees and my mentors, and from the feedback I hear, the circles were really burning. It was not mine alone, so it was really an amazing session that we had. Thank you.
Thank you, Revelina. Alicia, as your first session, how was it for you for your first session?
Lovely to meet all the girls. I share Revelina's sentiment when I was in grade 11 and grade 12, I was not in the same headspace as these young ladies. They're in such an amazing space. The roles that they're taking on, we've got treasurers, we've got church group leaders, we've got big sisters, we've got so many leaders in our group, and I just feel so inspired just to do even more in my own personal space. And, you know, if I can just leave you guys with, you know, the rest of you with a thought that we shared, is that goals without plans are just dreams. So you've got to remember that all of those things that we spoke about, all those little puzzle pieces that we fill in, it all adds to your bigger picture and ultimately becoming that well-rounded, beautiful, courageous leader that you all have within you to be.
Thank you so much, Alicia. So good to have you here. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Any of the other mentees want to say anything?
Val?
Yes.
I just want to amplify what Asnat said about telling the girls, letting go, you know, don't say, oh, that's not this and that. Even today, I mean, I think it applies to everybody. You know, I think what they should recognize is that what we're telling them is not for them alone. It applies to throughout your life, even as adults. You still need to apply the same principles that we're sharing with them. We're not sharing with them because it's what they need to do. We're not teaching them. It's what we've learned throughout our lives and we're applying. So just to amplify what you said in terms of letting go, I've used this model of, you know, learning to fight your battles, because I think that's very key. You know, is this really important? As Aslan said, will it serve me? Choose your battles. Is it really worth it to continue holding on rather than letting go? So choosing battles is very, very important, because it's draining. It's actually draining and mentally exhausting when you choose to fight the wrong battles. So it's that you have to protect your mind and mental mind, like I think it was one of the girls said that earlier. It's very important. So it's the same, it goes to the same thing. Mental alertness and mental wellness is important. So choose your battles well. You don't have to fight everything. It's not important. Being strong and courageous doesn't mean you have to fight everything. You have to choose your battles. That's what I want to say. All right. All right.
Thank you so much, Sitali. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, girls. So I'm just going to sum up and really just talk about today overall. I think you all came into this. First of all, I just want to say thank you for your commitment. Even you girls who kept falling off, you kept coming back. You just kept coming back. Thank you for that, because I know how frustrating, how it must be dry. You know, you were overcoming over and over and over, but you kept coming back. So thank you for that commitment, and thank you for that resilience. We appreciate you. We really, really appreciate you. And honestly, that commitment and resilience is probably one of the key signals of a true leader as well. So it just shows you want to learn here, you want to keep going, and so you keep coming back to gain that knowledge. So thank you for that. My one thing that I want to close off in terms of this group of people that you have around you, and some of the things also that Nina said earlier. Choose who your board of directors are. When you decide you, Donella, are your own organization and you are the CEO of your organization, decide who your board of directors are going to be. Decide who those people are that are going to help you achieve what you need to achieve to go where you need to go. And you might get different things. You know, in an organization, you have a marketing director and you have a finance director and you have a communications or whatever it may be. There are lots of different roles that people play. Not everyone can be everything to everybody, okay? But you just have the people in your life who help you those are your go-to people, okay? And the network that you are growing, the village that you are growing, a lot of them are sitting right here, guys. You all go to school together. You all know each other well. The Violet ladies, girls might not know, but they've now gained a whole bunch of people who are now part of their network. And then you have all these new mentors who are now part of your network. And each one of us can bring something and add something to your lives. I loved it. I got a message from Vanessa last night saying, Val, I need help. Who are the engineers? Sharon's an engineer. Gladys is an engineer. Boom, put them in contact. She gets the help she needs. And I promise you, everyone here knows somebody who can help you achieve what you need to achieve, okay? Start investing in your knowledge gathering years by using your village. This is the beginning of your village, okay? We are here to help you grow and to help you develop to where you go. Build your board of directors with the people who are going to add value in your life, okay? And Asna said it earlier, there's not always going to be somebody that you're going to like or who's going to add value. You don't have to have them as a close personal friend, but you can keep them close because sometimes it's good to keep those enemies closer than the friends. But make sure that you surround yourself with people who are your champions. And we are your champions, I promise you. Every single mentor here is one of your champions. So surround yourself with champions because they help you believe that you have the qualities to be the leaders that you all are. You started this session 2 weeks ago as young girls joining a Girls for Girls mentorship program. But you know what? Today, you took step number 1 in being leaders. Every single one of you, whether it's your compassion, whether it's your authenticity, whether it's the way you speak, whether it's the way you are a good friend, whether it's the way you care about your siblings, whether it's how you care about your community or your school. Every single one of those things makes you a leader. So please go and be a leader in your space because you are. You are a leader in your space. Don't you ever let anyone tell you otherwise. You are a leader in your space. Okay. So I'm now just going to talk about in 2 weeks' time. We have the next round. And the next round and part of your leadership development skills is art of communication. So your homework, please pull out your notebooks. Your homework for 2 weeks. Number 1, please complete the feedback forms. Number 1, please complete the feedback forms. I will send them out within the next hour, okay? Number 2, please watch the video that we'll be sharing with you on the art of communication from the Harvard professor. Please watch the video. Number 3, go and watch some speeches of people that you admire. Watch the speeches, look at what they say and how they say it. Look at the tools they use, okay? Think about people like Michelle Obama, about Malala, all those people out there that you admire. Watch those speeches and look at how they do it and what makes it successful. And then lastly, and most importantly, I want you to prepare a 1 to 2 minute speech. A 1 to 2 minute speech on something you really, really care about. And even if it's not a speech, it can be a poem maybe, but you will need to actually talk for a minute or 2 on something that you really, really care about. Okay. And I mean, I look at Swallow, she's getting so excited because she's already got it. I mean, she gave her speech today, right? She's gonna, you guys are gonna have to be really good to be better than Swallow next week, okay? You can see she's got the inspiration thing down. So I want to see you all bringing your Swallow special mode next week and energy, please. Okay, not next week, the week after. Okay, so summarize again. Do the feedback form. Watch the video. Look at speeches by people you admire, and then prepare a 1 minute to 2 minute speech. Any last words from anybody? All right, girls, I will say thank you for a fantastic day. I hope that you enjoyed it as much.
I see Priska's hand is up. I don't know.
Sorry,
if it's
Priska, please go ahead.
Is your hand up or you pressed it by mistake?
Oh, Priska, I think you should say something anyway.
Yeah, so say something anyway.
I feel like we should be courageous and continue striving for what we want. Yeah. That's my message.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. Right, everybody. So of course we're going to have some music to go out. Let's see a little bit of the screens on.
Yes, please.
Screens on so we can see your beautiful faces. Can someone take photographs, please, if you don't mind? Somebody take some photographs for us. All right, and here we go. Let's go. Let's do some Lizzo.
I don't know what I do. How doesn't the kitchen count?
Hi, everyone.